Welcome back to PodX. This is me, Ayush Majithia, your host. I'm really excited for this podcast. Our guest for today is Pakhi Gadh. Pakhi Gadh is a model and content creator. She's also deep into spirituality, and I'm really excited to have her as a guest on the podcast, talking about spirituality, mindset, human connection, and so much more. So, Pakhi, thank you so much for joining in. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you for having me. I'm quite excited.
Okay, Paki, I wanted to start off with spirituality because that's one of the reasons, even when I called you up, which I found really interesting about you. And a lot of people don't know that aspect of your life. So, how did you get into spirituality and what does spirituality mean to you?
I actually got into this whole spiritual path was back in 2020. I was like at home and just I don't think I was in the best zone of my life. So I just like went on Instagram and I asked like my followers that recommend some books for me to read, which I've never read a book in my life. So I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna read a book, and they all told me to read the book The Secret, and one was the autobiography of a yogi. These were like the two books that people like told me like read them, they're really good. And they were like very like aggressive about the fact that it's life changing, and I'm like, fine, I'm gonna call for it and read it. So I started with reading The Secret, and that book is basically about how you can manifest things, and you can change your ideas into reality and all of that. So I was reading that book, and one like that was the first book that I read, which was even like a little bit about that made my head open to like the spiritual path. So that book, when I finished it, I was literally like a different person. It's like I wouldn't say that book is like life changing. It came down for me. It was like I started viewing my life and how I'm going to lead it from there in a very different way. So I started like anything that I did in life, it was all positive. Like it was just everything around me just became like positive. Like anything around me. Then obviously my mom is very religious and she's also very spiritual. So I used to have like these talks with her about meditation and how it helps you and all of that. And then that's how I started like getting into like meditating every day. Like I would sit and probably meditate for like 20 minutes, and I did it for like a month or something. And I swear to God, I went to Delhi to meet my family, and even people over there noticed, and they literally told me that I was a different person. I could feel it that I had like way more like gratitude towards just everything in my life. I felt like I started viewing people around me or like my relationships or connections in a very different way. Like I just didn't care about like materialistic things. I was like, I really don't like it makes no difference to my life if I have like dude, till date have like an iPhone 8, and people are like, why don't you just get a phone? I'm like, I really don't care about getting like my phone works pretty well. I do not care about getting a phone like an iPhone 13 or 12 or whatever the hell. I don't want to get it. My phone works pretty well. So that's like as a person, things about me started changing. And then when you like talk to people about like like spirituality and meditating and all of these things, they think it's all like rubbish. So even with that, I feel like certain like people have their own like spiritual calling in a way that when it is your time to understand this concept or like this path, or you have to like reach this path, it will happen like organically. Because my brother was like completely opposite. So I tell him, I was like, I'm not gonna like impose my belief on you and how it's changed me and my life, but there will be a day you will yourself understand it, and that's gonna be like your time to follow this path. So like that's how it started, and ever since, like I feel like I've been the best version of myself. Yeah.
Correct. And spirituality actually opens up doors to some unbelievable things also. So there's this incident which happened to me, which is like, even I find it hard to believe, but it's actually happened. So during the lockdown, I actually started meditation. And I was doing this thing called mantra meditation. So you actually recite a mantra 108 times while your eyes are closed and you meditate at the same time. And I was actually, this morning, I was actually facing the west side. And I was doing the Shiv mantra in the morning and reciting it. And after doing it after a while, what happened was I could feel a bright light penetrating through my eyes. Now, a lot of people would say that it would be the sun, but the thing is, I was facing the west. So it can't really be the sun. And I don't know what it was, but it was like a really amazing experience that I've had with the whole spiritual aspect of that side. And even when the times when I do meditate, it does feel calm and all. Though for me, it's been like a switch, like it's on and off. I meditate sometimes, I don't meditate sometimes. I'm still trying to find stability. But I do,
Yeah.
I think it did manage to, I did manage to instill my belief in the concept.
No, it's like it's amazing how it does change you as a person. It's like you can't force, like even with being spiritual, you can't force things upon yourself. Like you have to probably accept it, or follow a certain path, like in your own way and time. So a lot of people like do not meditate every day, and like I'm not going to force them, be like you have to do it and sit down and meditate. It's like up to them. I tell them, I'm like, do it for like 5 minutes a day also. If you can just find that connection with yourself, with your mind, just for like 5 minutes in a day, it is gonna like change you. Just wait, like have the patience, for like so all of that. Even with manifesting things, a lot of times people just like think that if they are manifesting something and it's not happening, then they be like, what is this? This is all rubbish, this is not true. But even with manifesting things, you need to have patience, because sometimes certain things are not, probably it's not the right time for certain things to happen. I think that when I want to manifest something, or like I know somebody who's manifesting, I tell them that probably it's not the right time for that to happen. Just have the patience and wait. It could take 6 months, it could take a year, it could take 5 years, but have the patience. Like just when you are aligned with that thing in your life, you will get it and you will have it. But a lot of people don't have the patience, and I think that's what being spiritual teaches you, is also like to be patient and calm. So yeah,
But you know, the scientific aspect of manifestation, the psychology one. Okay,
tell
so
me.
I'll
I want to.
awesome. Okay, so what I'll explain it to you is what basically, if you look at it, manifestation is believing in something until it becomes a reality, correct? So now, when you're doing these, there are people are like, writing down in their journals or doing such activities and all that stuff. Now, what happens is most of the time when you're doing all of this, it takes up a place in your mind, correct? So now you're going to spend a lot of time thinking about it. And
Yeah.
what actually happens is when you spend a lot of time thinking about something, you're going to try and start thinking about how to achieve it. Correct. So if
Yeah.
you're thinking about, I want to get this modeling contract and you're trying to manifest it. So now you're spending a lot of time every day thinking about it. So you're going to try and find your mind will find different ways on how you can get that. Maybe you can DM this person, you can email them or reach out this way or that way and all that stuff. And I feel manifestation is something like that, where you spend so much of time thinking about it that automatically you come up with solutions for that problem. And then you execute on those solutions. And that's how it becomes a reality.
Yeah, that's definitely there, but I feel like I've heard and known few people who, which is a little freaky, how they have manifested like certain like people or relationships in their life, which is like very freaky, because even though like if you are trying to manifest, like probably want to get like a modeling gig or something, it's like you do work, like like you automatically work in that direction and all of that. But it's kind of weird how you can manifest like people who you've never met. Like you could probably have never met someone in your entire life, but if you are manifesting it, suddenly somehow they are going to pop up in front of you, or something about them is going to pop up. Those are like the things where I'm like, like this is like crazy. Like how does this work?
I mean, I would still say the same thing. It's still the same thing. Okay.
Even if
Um,
it's like, yeah, maybe I do agree, but then it's like, what if you're trying to manifest like a certain person in your life, and you have never spoken to this person, and you manifest like wanting to meet them, and probably 1 week after that you get like a message from your friend that I'm going out for dinner, and I'm getting this one friend, and then you enter the restaurant and that guy is sitting over there. Like, isn't that so weird? Like, how do you like subconsciously manifest that? Because I've heard people like have this, like these things happening to people.
I don't know. Maybe there is like the aspect. There's the science which we don't understand. Maybe.
That's why I'm not deep into this whole concept of manifesting. I take it in the other way, where I just try to create just positivity around me.
But okay, wait. Actually, I do have a story to share on this. So, for me, when I started, the reason I told you why I started podcasting was I wanted to meet a lot of these people and get to know them. Correct. And there are these people, very high profile people, whom normally I would have never thought I could meet them. Before I started the whole podcasting thing. And the reason why I started podcasting was to get to meet them and get to know them. And now I've finally got to meet a lot of these people. So in a sense, I think now, after you said that, made that statement, I think I may have manifested me meeting them, even though I never knew them earlier. I
Yeah,
would say.
but it's both. I think it's also you working in that direction, but it's also the things like those people coming to you also. So it's like it's not like you're just sitting at home and doing absolutely nothing about it, and they're just like,
Correct.
"Hi, Ayush, what?" You are working
Correct.
in that direction, but that's what it is. You have to put in the work also when it comes to manifesting things, and I think it's
Correct.
some like it's weird how it just automatically comes to you also.
Correct. But have you had any out of the world experiences like that? Or do you know anyone who's had experiences like that and all that stuff? If you could share a few.
I don't know, like I don't know, but like I don't know if people are comfortable in telling their stories, right? So the only time I met like this one teacher of mine the other day, and she believes in this, and like we all do believe in it, but she is like she would have like a vision board and all of that. So I was like, I was asking her, I was like, how does this help and how does this work? She's like, this is my vision board, and she put specific things on the vision board, like she wanted to travel to a certain place and all of that. And she was telling me and my friend how she put on the vision board that on this specific date she is going to go to like this specific place. And she told me literally her vision board is right in front of her bed, and she's like, a couple of months later somehow she literally went to that place one day after the date she had put on her vision board. And I'm just like, that's crazy, that's actually like kind of cool. And she's like, that's happened with her like twice when it came to like having a vision of traveling somewhere, all of that. So that was one thing I was like, fine, like even vision boards are like a legit thing. I personally don't manifest, I don't know, like I don't know, I just like create positive thoughts and atmosphere for myself. That's the only way I manifest things in my life. There's nothing specific that I will be like, I want this, or like I like all of that. I'm not deep into manifesting things.
Okay, I'm going to go
Are
a bit
you?
off topic, but okay, wait. Okay. I'll answer that question first, and then I'll go on the next question. I'm not exactly into manifestation in that way, where you make these vision boards or you write down stuff and all. It's just for me in my mind that I believe I can do something, and then I work towards it. Or I try to find
Yeah,
different paths. Like I told you, the psychology way, when you're thinking about something, you try to find different paths of achieving it. So that's what I would say I do.
yeah, that's like, yeah, that's
Okay,
a good
so
way.
I'm going to go a bit off topic, but do you self talk? Do you talk to yourself? And how do you keep
Yeah.
it positive to yourself? Then I would ask that.
Self-talk, I wouldn't just like, I don't know, I feel like when I'm like upset or angry or anything, I do in my head or like with myself sit down and like probably tell myself or talk to myself only in those situations, because I don't want to make like irrational like decisions or say certain things. So it's only in those situations I will like sit down and just like talk to myself and tell myself to like calm down, or like what is good for me and what's not good for me, and just like snap back from like being angry, upset. Because those are like the worst times you make like the worst decisions, when you're like really upset or you're like really angry. I've made like really bad decisions. So I'm like, now when I'm like really upset or angry, that's like the only time I talk to myself.
Correct. I mean, this is very interesting. I've noticed that most people self talk, but then I don't know why
Yeah.
people don't have that conversation about self talk. You know,
You
it's
don't?
not so. No, I mean, no one goes outside and talks about that. Or do they self talk or not? I mean, that's what it's not very public. I would say that.
You know, being
Maybe
the
it's
other.
because it's a personal space, something like that. Maybe I think.
I mean, I remember this one time I was like sitting in my swing outside my hall, and I was just like talking to myself because I do it a lot, like not a lot, but like I do it sometimes. And my brother just walked in and he's like, "Are you okay? Like, what are you doing? Why are you talking to yourself?" And I got so embarrassed. I was like, "Oh my god, I nothing. I just do this." And I was like, I owned up to it. I was like, so what? I'm just talking to myself. But I saw this meme the other day which said that there are like, I think two people that I talk to, and one of them is myself. I was like, oh, that's like, I really relate to that.
Okay, but I wanted to go to the next part of the podcast, which is what are some of the challenges that you've dealt with in your, I would say, in your career and in your personal life, both of them.
I feel like because I'm like a very like I have this thing like since school. First thing that I really dealt with a lot was like really like major self-esteem issues when I was a kid, because I was told like by everyone that I was ugly. Like even though in my head I thought that I was very pretty and I was like a bombshell or stuff like that, but everybody kept telling me how like hideous I was. And I think that sort of built like major self-esteem issues, because I remember when I lost weight and this one time this guy came to me and told me that he thinks I'm pretty. And I swear for 5 minutes I couldn't believe that he thought that I looked good. I was like, are you sure you think I'm pretty? Are you 100% sure you said that you think I'm pretty? And he's like, yeah. And then because of that, till now I think like until like recently I had like major issues with like knowing my worth and all of that. Like anything that would come my way, like so many times I would get like a modeling gig, or like I would get an opportunity in my profession also, like any work that I could do. I would just be like, no, I don't want to do it. Like, why should I do it? Why do they want to work with me? Who am I? Like, I'm a nobody. And so I dealt with like these issues a lot, and it was like a loop that affected like my relationships also in life, where I felt not worthy of being with like people, or like having certain friendships or relationships, and that would affect, like like the relationships I had. That was one thing. And I think the other thing was how I don't know, I feel like I don't know if it's because I'm young. I'm like the youngest kid in my family, so I don't know what it is, but I feel like a lot of times people don't take me seriously with what I'm saying, because my mom keeps telling me I'm very naive. So it's like if you are saying or doing something bad to me, I'm not going to give you a reaction. And it's not because I'm a dumb person or like, or stuff like that. It's just that I'm not probably, I'm not going to give, like, I don't want to argue or fight with people. I don't want to like have like disagreements. So if you say something to me and I'm like, you say something bad to me, I'm not going to give you a reaction to that. Like anything, you literally like, there have been a time that this girl came up to me and she was, I think, drunk, and she slapped me, and I did not say anything to her, because I just like, and that's not because I'm dumb. It's just that I probably don't want to pick a fight with a random person for no reason, and I just want to let it go. So my mom keeps telling me that if you're gonna have like this attitude, if people are gonna take advantage of you, and all of these things. So I just feel like a lot of time I let go of so many things, people don't take me seriously. And also because I'm young, so if I'm talking to someone, they'll be like, oh no, you shut up, you don't know much, what do you know, you're like this naive little girl, you like, they don't take like me seriously. So these were like two things that in my life that I still deal with, but I feel like now I'm growing from that, because I've learned that these are like some traits that I need to change. Because I don't know, I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like I need to change certain things about myself and probably present myself in a more stern way, or be more firm with people about like my ideas of me as a person. Even though I really don't care if people take me seriously or no, it's just like we have to sometimes be a little diplomatic when we're out there. So
Correct. But
yeah.
I think it also comes down to picking your battles. I mean, like you said, there are some people who, if you meet some random person and all that stuff, you wouldn't want to start a fight with them and all that stuff. Because it's exactly like you said. I think it comes down, like you said, maybe is it because it comes down to self worth, something like that.
Your
So
voice
it's,
just,
oh, can I be heard now?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I was saying maybe it just comes down to a form of self worth where you need to know which battles are good enough for you and which are not, and which will just consume your energy and time and leave you wasted.
Yeah, that, but I've also had like really close friends who have probably backstabbed me in ways and like said things about me, and I've still not reacted to it because I choose to just not, I don't know, I feel like if you have a person who's negative, I just still want to deal with that, like deal with a person like that with a positive headspace, or like to just remove them from my life. I'm very forgiving because there's like this rule that I follow, which I read in this book, which is like, I think the FGH rule, where it says that you should have forgiveness for your past, you should have gratitude for your present, and hope for the future. So I feel like if somebody does me bad, before I would forgive them and I would just be like, yeah, we can be friends and all of that. But now if somebody does something or I don't get good vibes from them, I would like cut them out of my life. And like I forgive them. There's no way would I want that person with those thoughts and that energy in my life at all. So that's
Correct.
what it
I
is. You
think
learn so many experiences with relationships in your life, and it sort of like teaches you so much about yourself also.
I think I need to follow the FGH rule, probably to embed that into my life also. And I feel like everyone should probably follow that rule. It makes things better, I would say.
It
More
makes
peaceful.
it makes yeah, it makes things like so much at peace for me, and I follow it with like literally in my life. Like this is my rule of life.
Okay, but since we're at this part already, I wanted to ask you this: how do you deal with so much of backslash and negativity of social media? I mean, you probably must be getting a lot of negative DMs. You get a lot of
Yeah.
negative comments. How do you deal with all of that?
But see, I don't want to be cheeky and all, but I don't. Like I don't know. I really don't deal with like hate on Instagram. Like I literally said before also that it's literally a person behind a screen who's telling you something about yourself. Like, why would you even consider it? And see, in my life right now, there are such amazing, beautiful people who support me, who motivate me, who help me grow in every aspect. There's so much amazing, positive things that I look at that not even for a minute does it strike me that there's something negative being said about me. Because I have so much amazing things to look forward to, or like I have so many amazing people in my life that I love and who give me love and like care about me, that any sort of negativity from a random person or even people who are probably gossiping and spreading rumors, not even for a minute do I consider giving my energy or thought to all of that. And that's what I said, like showing gratitude for like your life, because that's just a person who has their own insecurities trying to put somebody else down to make themselves feel better. That's really got nothing to do with how you are as a person or like how you look and all of that. So I think that's how I just don't deal with negativity. But the only thing that gets to me is like if I am posting someone on my Instagram, like my sister, brother, or anyone like who I care about, and they comment something about them, that's like the only thing that gets to me because I feel very like protective about like people I care about.
So how do you attack back, or do you just let it
No,
affect you, or what do you do
I
with that?
I I delete the comment because, or I probably if it's something really like, I mean, just cheap or something, then I would just block them. Because I know that I am like this, that I don't care about the hate or like people saying certain things about me, but I don't know how they would take it. So I just like quickly delete it or like block the person because I don't want my friends or family to read certain things about themselves.
Correct. And I feel like you said about it, not letting it affect you. If we build good human connection in the real world, like the physical human connections in real life and not the social media ones, then I don't think then when you have a strong circle around you, stuff like this doesn't matter because the people who matter think positively about you, or they know the real you. I would say that is.
Exactly. Those are the things we should always look at. Because you do good or bad, anything you do, people are always going to have negative things to say about you. So we should really shift our focus on the positive, amazing things that we have in our life. Because people are always going to talk, and you really just have to do you at the end of the day, because that's going to bring you happiness and people around. When you are happy, you're going to spread that happiness to people you care about and the people around you. So, yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you this: how do you build a good relationship or a good human connection with someone?
I feel like with me lately, I it's not easy for me first of all to like build a good deep connection with somebody because now when you meet people, everyone is just so vague about themselves, and their priorities are very different, especially at people with like my age. They are all into like this direction of just partying and going out and alcohol and smoking and this and that. And I'm not gonna lie, I do party, I do go out, but the people that I meet like socially are just people I can never build that connection with. Like, you need to truly sit down with me, probably talk to me, talk about your experience, like my experiences with you. I feel like those are the things I want to talk about. Like, I want to get to know the person, like who are you as a person, what are your like goals in life, like how, like this podcast is literally like opening up to each other about, like, like
Correct.
these are the conversations I want to have with people. Like socially, you do meet people, you talk like, hey, what's up, how have you been, and all of that. But to genuinely build like a deep connection with someone is not easy, because it's like you really need to open up to them about your life and how you are as a person and all of that. And I think I'm still figuring out so much about myself that it's sometimes even like confusing for me. So I'm like, I want to build a connection with someone, but I'm so like indecisive and confused in my own head. And what do I even tell this person? But no, I would love to just like probably go for like dinner with my friends and talk to them about their week and about their goals. It's very important. Like, me and my best friend, we meet every single day. But it's like literally we meet every single day, but she would tell me so much about like her goals and what she wants to do and what her, like my other, like her boyfriend's doing. And I love having these creative like people who have so much to, like, they have so many goals in life and they keep talking about it and keep motivating me. So those are like the kind of people I want in my life.
Correct. And there's another thing, like you said about sharing experiences and all that stuff. So that's actually a way of building connection. That's actually a way of building trust. So what happens is when you open up to someone first, they feel comfortable that, okay, this person is feeling comfortable sharing their stories with me. So now I can also share my stories with them. And that's how you actually kind of build trust, I would say. Like sharing your experiences, sharing your deepest stories, which are in your mind, I would say.
But with me, like, because like this whole being spiritual thing and my whole positive thinking and all of that, for some people it's like she is whacked. Like, they think like, what is she, like they'll be like, oh, what are you, like, are you like are you drunk, like what is wrong with you? And that is one aspect of my life, because I am the kind of person, like, I would want to talk about all of these things. Like, I would want somebody to accept the way I'm leading my life and accept like these things about me and support it. I need somebody to be on the same wavelength, because like sometimes you are talking to someone about, you're trying to build a relationship or like, a deep connection, and probably they're not on the same page as you. So then you're just like, should I like keep quiet, should I not say anything? So you also need to like make sure that the person you are talking to is like probably on the same page as you, otherwise y'all are just going to be talking like gibberish to each other.
Correct. But then, okay, I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you this on how on building a romantic relationship. So let's say that. So obviously, when two people meet, most of the time they might be on the same page. They might not be on the same page. They might like each other for different reasons, not even if they're on different pages. So how do they come on the same page? I would say, or what would be your experience with relationships in that form?
It's not been great. I don't know actually. If I'm not on the same page with the guy I'm dating, it's always been toxic. So how people say like opposites attract, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how that genuinely works, because it's not worked out for me at all. Because I feel like I need somebody in my life who has to just accept the person I am and the person I'm becoming. And that is like a very important thing. So also feel like in relationships, like you can't have like everything you want. Like sometimes you have to make certain compromises, which are like important for your relationship because you love the person. So I feel like to have that balance, you need to figure it out. Like it's vice versa. Like it's not like the girl should be sitting and she should be making all the compromises for the guy, and she should be like following the path that the guy wants her to follow. And like same, the guy shouldn't do this the same. They need to understand the balance that, this is my life, these are the things that I am doing, and she also has to understand the same about them, about the guy, and you'll need to find that balance. Because at the end of the day, all it really, like, if you genuinely love a person, you would want to like make things good for them, and just like all of that, and support them. So I think that's like very important.
Okay, but I wanted to ask you this. You spoke about the when the paths are unbalanced, or when things are different, or when you're not on the same page, it might end up being toxic, even if the two people are individually very nice people. So,
Yeah.
what would be advice if someone is on a toxic relationship, or what would you tell them, or how do you deal with that?
I with I'll tell you, with my ex before Nirvan, I was in a very toxic place. Like, in I wouldn't say it was because of the guy. It was just like me as a person. Also, I was like, I had become very toxic. So it was like I was being toxic for myself and for the guy that I was with. And I feel like that just did not end well, because a lot of people feel like, I mean, I don't want to like say anything. Like, it's not like I'm being rude, but a lot of people love to, like, in a relationship, talk about how the other person did this, how the other person did that, but they never want to like look at what they also are doing or saying, or like, it's like two of you all in one relationship. So I think in my with my ex before that, I was the one to always pinpoint things, but I never really like looked at how I was also being toxic for him, or how I was being toxic for my life. So to understand, to just understand that how you can change things also about yourself, and understand things also about yourself to like make things work, that is also like very important in a relationship, because you're always busy pinpointing like, he hurt me, he did this, he did that, but you are also in the relationship, right? What are you doing? Like, are you sure you're not doing anything that's making it toxic? But if it reaches a point where it's like not in any way or form helping you grow in life, or it's just like cutting out your growth or pulling you down, then I don't support. I wouldn't personally be in a relationship like that. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna add in between the reason for the audience. The reason why I'm not giving any of my own opinions is because I've never dated, so I don't have any opinions in this. But no, I haven't. So
Oh
I
my
have no
god.
opinions in this. But
Good. Don't
yeah.
date. Not date. I'm not supporting. I'm like the person right now. I'm like anybody I see dating. I'm like, no, break up. Don't date. I'm like that right now.
But I wanted to come to the next part of it, which was about self love. How do you think self love improves everything in your life? How do you think it has a positive touch? Because I know a lot of people in their life who talk negatively about themselves, which has, I think subconsciously, it has a very negative impact on the quality of life they're living, I would say.
For sure. It's like I don't know, self love is like so important. It's like not only about the just physically, the way to like love your body or your face and your looks, like even as a person, I love myself. I love the woman I'm becoming. That I love the woman I aspire to be. Everything, I genuinely love everything about myself. I feel like you need to really be content and have like love within you to like spread it around you. That's what it is. Like, when even we talk about like negative comments on Instagram, it's like, I know for a fact that this person who's saying something negative is dealing with some sort of hurt or some sort of pain. And like, that's what it is. Like, you need to just deal with people or situations with love. And if you don't have self love, if you have like doubt within you, or like you feel like you're not good enough and you're not worthy of things, it's really not going to take you anywhere. But even with self love, I feel like you need to really like figure it out, like figure yourself out first. That I like the reason now also when I tell people I want to be single is because I feel like I want to figure myself completely out and just know who I am as a person, what I like, and just figure myself out enough to let someone else in so closely, and like all of that. Because with my past relationships, sometimes I should deal with like major anxiety. I did not have a lot of like love to give. I was always in a down mood and all of that. So I feel like that was also affecting my relationship in a negative way, like a lot. And we need to I did not understand the balance. Like, I was one of those girls, I'm like, I'm going through anxiety, I want my like I want to talk to my boyfriend, I need him to be like on the line with me all the time. But that's not healthy at all. So you need to like really also figure out that balance where you need to
Correct.
really have love and you to give it to people around you.
Correct. I think self love for me has, I'll tell you how self love actually has worked for me. It has given me the freedom to make mistakes, I would say. So for me,
Mhm.
whenever I make a mistake, I can tell myself that it's okay. I need to keep on experimenting and trying new things. While people who have a less amount of self love for themselves, they don't allow them to allow themselves to fail. If something goes wrong in their life, you can see the blame game starting to play. They don't want to take the blame on themselves. They don't want to accept the failure. I would say that's one of the biggest issues which I have seen in people who don't have self-love, I would say.
Yeah, and also, one thing that I notice a lot about people is this whole concept to be right and wrong, which I'm like, I keep telling my mom, I'm like, Mama, there's like, I in my life don't feel like there is a right or wrong in situations, especially when it comes to people. I feel like if I am close to somebody and they come up to me and they tell me that this is what you did and that really hurt me, there are a lot of people who would like have like a comeback and be like, but you did this and you did that, and that is what leads to like just arguments and like toxic shit. You should just, if I am expressing, if I'm putting my heart out there and telling you that there is something you did that hurt me, I feel like to just sit down and be like, I'm sorry that I did that, because it's not about right and wrong, it's about the fact that you hurt someone's feelings. So just to sit down and be like, I'm really sorry to hurt your feelings, but this is like my side of the story and this is why I did what I did. I feel like if we start having conversations like that so many relationships would be like super different.
Correct. And I like, okay, I wanted to add to that. And the other part is not letting your ego come in between. So
For sure.
what happens is a lot of times luckily I'm in the space with my friend circle with some of my friends, which is if there's something wrong, they will come up and tell that to me that, okay, we didn't like your behavior or what you did like this. Please avoid doing it from the next time. Now there can be two ways of reacting to that. One, I get mad because they might have judged me, or I self reflect and try to look that what I did was wrong, how I did it. And like you said, telling my side of the story. Like
Yeah.
very recently, I was putting up these funny reels of my friend. And what happened was I put out around one or two, and then the third one also I put up. And then she told me that, she was not comfortable with me putting out so many of that kind of content. And it was like straight up, there was nothing wrong with that. And I accepted it. And I'm like, I apologize. I said I should have asked permission, maybe. I'm sorry for that. And then everything's normal between us back again. If I had to go and make a fight about it, then maybe things wouldn't have been the way that way they were.
Exactly. If you care about someone, you need to, you do, it's not like you intentionally hurt people. Sometimes, because of your morals and your lifestyle and your like how you've been brought up, you do certain things that do end up hurt. Like you don't have to be like this person that I want to make everyone happy. Like if because that you can't do that. Like if you're trying to make someone else happy, you'll probably make someone else unhappy, and it's like this whole thing. But I feel like if you just like have this attitude where you hurt someone and you just sit down with them and tell them that this was my side of the story and this is like how I thought it was right, and but I'm sorry it hurt you, I wouldn't repeat it. I think that would change a lot of relationships, and like that's what I keep telling my friends also. And that's one of the reasons why I do not have fights with people like that I'm close to in my life, because every time somebody would tell me that I did something to hurt them, I would be like, I'm sorry. But you also have to be firm about the fact, like if they are just being like not being like reasonable or something, you obviously have to tell them. So you have to, but you have
Correct.
to do it in a comforting way. You can't be like a pet and listen to everything people are telling you, but you also have to make sure that they know that you're really sorry for hurting them, but this is how you are, and this is how you choose to lead your life. In certain situations, like you have to be a little firm about that.
Correct. Which is why you have to like self-respect, self-reflect and understand that. So I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you this. What are some situations where you've gone through the whole self-reflection phase?
So many times. Like in all, that's what I told you, in all, like until recently, like I was the kind of person that you, like if I love you, if I'm like, if I care about you, you tell me to do A, I will do A. If you tell me to do B, I'll do B. Like I will listen to everything you tell me to do. And that is insanely toxic for, it was so toxic for me. It was like I was like, I'm literally trying to do every single thing in my power to make this person happy, but I still can't make this person happy. Like, what else can I even do? So now I'm just like, at this point, I'm like, that I need to really, for me right now, to figure out myself, to figure out like the headspace I'm in, what I want to do in life. And then I would like want to like build probably a relationship or like stuff like that. Because I'm gonna be like now in my life I'm gonna be pretty firm with like my morals, because all these years I've always listened to my friends and my like the people I've been with or like I've dated. I've only listened to them, but now I'm just like, you know what? I am who I am. I am not going to apologize for that. And you are coming into my life, accept me for who I am, or you can just easily walk out. Like, I'm not going to force you to be in a toxic environment and be with someone who you're not vibing with, but accept me for who I am as a person. Don't I am going to make my own decisions. I'm going to like do things on my own, and you have to accept me for that, and then we can grow forward. But if that's not the case, then you can easily just walk out. Otherwise, you're going to just probably be unhappy.
Correct. Yeah. Okay, I wanted to ask you this. What would be your last advice for anyone who's watching or listening to this podcast?
Last advice. Mm, I don't know, just do you. Like, literally do you. Do not, do not be scared to try different things. I feel like you have to, like, flutter your wings to fly high in life. So just experience things, everything that I feel like you go through in your life, take it in a positive way. It is going to make you reach a higher level in your life where you're meant to be. So take it in that way, make good memories with people, spread positivity, give love. I'm sounding like a guru right now, but that's what I'm telling like all my friends. And I'm like, yeah, just like be kind to each other, like just make good memories and have a like good time. It's like our life is really, really too short, and it's actually so beautiful. We have amazing people, so many like beautiful places in India, the nature. There's so many good things around us that we need to like pick on and look at than the bad things. So yeah,
Correct. I mean, I'm going to try embedding all of that into my life. I have
yeah,
embedded a few of it, but I'm going to embed the rest of it. But it was great having you. It was amazing talking to you. I personally got to learn a lot from you. And yeah, I'm super glad we connected on this podcast. So thank you so much for joining in.
yeah, for sure. And like you're really doing a very good thing by like letting people, or like people on Instagram and the people who are in the business, like, and all these people to like come on your podcast and talk about themselves and open up and really like put themselves in an unfiltered way out there. So that's like really nice of you. To keep going.
Thank you so much.